today was a huge win for Donald Trump. Not only was it a big win a couple days ago when he just demolished Joe Biden in the presidential debate. They both suck to me, if you ask me, but that's neither here nor there. But he is not going to be prosecuted for anything that he did while he was a president. And that is huge because what's happened now, what he has is now immunity, presidential immunity, which means that anybody who's president right now, they can get away with anything. They won't be charged with anything criminally that they do while they're president. So that's like an absolute ruler. Before we had checks and balances with the Constitution and things of that nature that we had in place. So we won't have issues like this when it comes to absolute power and the president. So now Donald Trump is not the president yet, but we all know Joe Biden is not going to be the president. All right. He's senile. That's not happening. Kamala Harris, that's not happening on that end. Unless the Democrats do something dramatic. But what's just happened is former President Donald Trump has been immune of all of those charges. Nothing is going to happen to him. So that means if he were to be reelected and become the president, somebody like Donald Trump, who we already know we can't trust, is going to have absolute power to do whatever he wants to do. Now that is crazy. This was reported from Fox News. I saw this and I just had to just bring it to you guys' attention. Remember, he's going to have absolute power when he comes into office.
Let me read you a little bit of what we have from the court. It does find this: under our constitutional structure of separated powers, the nature of presidential power entitles a former president to absolute immunity from criminal prosecution for actions within his conclusive and preclusive constitutional authority. He is entitled to at least presumptive immunity from prosecution for all his official acts. There is no immunity for unofficial acts. That's the first blush we've got on this. It looks like a 6-3 split. We've got the
we got to know what an official act is. They always have these wordings where you don't know exactly what an official act is. They got to decide what is actually an official act while you're a president. This is nuts. Like I said, this is absolute power. Now that this happened, imagine in I believe it was in 1972, with Richard Nixon in the Watergate scandal, when he sent his burglars to the Democratic National Committee to plant wiretaps. You know, he didn't get away with it. He had to wind up resigning when they caught him. But yeah, imagine that happening. Somebody like Trump would have been able to get away with that, and it'd be nothing wrong with him because he cannot be prosecuted right now. This is major, like major.
Sent by Justice Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson joined that. There is a kind of split decision on some of these. Somebody joins in one part, not in another part, but that's the overall holding of the court. So what it means now, we'll have to dig into this and see if they tell us now, how do you decide an official act versus an unofficial act? Because that's going to be critical, having now said the president does have absolute immunity from criminal prosecution for actions within his conclusive.
See, she just said it. How do you define an official act from an unofficial act? That makes no sense. An official act should be an act that is for the people. An unofficial act should be an act that's for self. That should be really clear and easy, but they're gonna be figuring out how to word that. But this is not good at all, especially if Trump wins. This is not good because he already can't be trusted. And you see all of the black people behind him in that the convention that he just had. No, not the national convention. He just spoke. I forgot where he spoke. I want to say it was in Virginia, but I'm probably gonna misspeak. But he had a lot of black people behind him, and I saw some dreadlocks and everything. So just know who you're voting for. You're voting for somebody who you can't trust. That's all I'm telling you. You can't trust him. And now he's going to have absolute power based on his ruling.
And preclusive constitutional authority. We'll dig in, see how they define those official acts, and look for a little bit more from you from the opinion. But at first blush, this looks like it is going to be a win for the argument for presidential immunity when it comes to allegations of criminal activity.
What's interesting is that, you know, I'm sure if you're the Biden.
Do you understand? Like, allegations of criminal activity, he's going to have presidential immunity. That means that a president can do criminal activity. That don't make no sense, yo. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. The president is immune from criminal activity. That also means that presidents can engage in criminal activity. You tell me what you think, guys. Put that in the comment section below, please. That simultaneously says that presidents can engage in criminal activity because they will be immune.
The White House, you're paying close attention to this as well, because in the situation that we find ourselves in the utilization of the justices in politics. Let me go to you, Jonathan Turley, for a reaction to this decision so far.
Well, this is along the lines of what many of us anticipated, that the court did not go with absolute immunity on everything, but did say that there's absolute immunity when it comes to core constitutional powers. We're still going through the opinion to see if there's any assistance on where that line is to be drawn. This case is going to have to go back to the district court, which is going to have to try to sort of thread this needle.
Now, real quick, right now, while the line is not drawn on what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, everything's acceptable. You're immune. Immune. Is you hear that word? Immune. Immunity. It means immune. Like you absolute. This all out power. That's what it means so far.
Needle to determine what in the case would not fall under these protections. But this is obviously a win for President Trump in the sense that the special counsel was arguing, as with the lower court, that there was very
former President Trump, but whatever.
Little immunity here to be concerned with. The counsel for the government was assuring the court that they really didn't have much to be concerned with here in terms of any changes in the status of the case. That's clearly not what won the day. The court here is saying that we do need lines here drawn to protect presidents so they have some breathing room. And you have to sort of wonder how the context affected the justices. I mean, if they want to look at the implications of leaving presidents without protection, they just need to look around the country. Even though Manhattan was not a federal case, it was a political prosecution in the view of many of us that was rather raw and open. And so this is a context that must have concentrated the minds of these justices as they did what Justice Gorsuch said and tried to write for the ages, to have something not for this case, but for future cases and future presidents.
This is nuts, man. This is nuts. Like I said, this means absolute power. So more than anything, for those people, remember I told you, when it comes to these politics, you can be informed, uninformed, or misinformed. So you need to be informed today and understand that if voting for whoever you vote for, whoever wins the presidency right now, will have automatic immunity from criminal charges, period. So they can go ahead and plant bugs if they want to, wherever they want, like Richard Nixon and his burglars did in 1972. They got in trouble for it, but you won't get in trouble for it now because you're the president. So now I always wonder, why would somebody want to be the president anyway? It's not like I always thought it's not like you're making that much money. I think the salary, I don't know, years ago it was like $250,000 a year or whatever the case was. I always thought, what's the point of being president? You can just be the most popular person on the land, but who cares? It's all about the money. But if you can get away with criminal activity, oh yeah. The one thing I want to be is the president. Everybody would want to be the president. You know, let me know what you think. Hit the like button if you like this content. Comment below more than anything. Let's start the conversation. This your boy Ronald West. I'm out. Peace.